Check, check, check. Should be live now. Check, check, check. Just taking it super easy today. Kind of wait for some people to jump in. But I've been busy in general. I've been recording a bunch, working on some new music. So I need a break from recording a bunch of very difficult guitar parts. So I don't really feel like trying to write new music or, do anything too hardcore today. Just kind of want to hang out. I feel like that's something I don't do enough here. Just kind of chill. So if anyone has like music they want me to check out, hey Ronaldo. If anyone has any music they want me to check out, your own music or some other bands you like, maybe we can do that. Maybe I'll play some guitar, just kind of noodle and practice or whatever. And if you have questions for me, make this like a little Q&A sort of live stream. Any questions you might have, music related or not music related, although I'm assuming they'll be music related if you're here. But I'm just kind of chill for an hour or so and then go back to recording, because sometimes we need a break. When you're recording this kind of music, it's quite tricky. I've made it my goal that I will put out my next full-length album next year. So I've finally gotten off my butt and started recording. I've had the music written for a long time. I've just kind of been putting it off because the process of putting a whole album together it's just a lot of work and it's very daunting. And I'm pretty busy in general. So that's kind of where I'm at. But, I really want to. It's important for me to do that. So the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've started recording all the guitars. So one song is completely done with the guitars. I haven't done bass yet. And I'm working on the second one right now, which is a 10-minute song. I'm almost done with the rhythm guitars for that, which a lot of times ends up being like the most tedious process because there's a lot of rhythm guitars through most of these songs. And I want them to be super tight. So I'm just kind of slowly working through some of that. I don't want to give anything away. Maybe I could practice some of these parts on the stream. Not the rhythm parts because I want to keep my strings fresh for recording, but I could practice some of the other parts. If anyone has questions about like the recording process too, I mean, that can be somewhat interesting, I think, to do or to talk about. So yeah, just chilling for today. What music have all of you been listening to this year? It's I feel like I haven't listened to as much new music lately. There's a few things I've checked out here and there this year. I think when you do music for a living like I do, it's like I don't listen to music as much as I used to, like not even nearly as much as I used to, which is maybe interesting for a musician to not listen to music that much. But when all you do is like make music or teach or play, it's like sometimes I just don't even want to listen to music sometimes. But of course I always want to like try to keep up to date with what's happening music wise, especially in this genre, in the prog sphere, but other music too, right? Anything, just to kind of keep tabs on everything that's happening. So, I suppose the other thing about this stream is the 20,000 subscribers element of it. So, thank you all so much. I'm assuming anyone who's here in the stream is probably subscribed to the channel. So, I really appreciate it. It's been almost 5 years since I started doing the Prog School, doing videos and stuff like that. Actually, maybe that would be fun later if I'm not getting many questions here. I could take a look at some of my older Prog School videos and recently got a few of the Frost CDs stuff that I've. Oh yeah, Frost is fantastic. I listed them as one of my 20 favorite bands in a video I did a couple months ago. I'm a massive fan of Million Town. That's always been one of my favorites. And then their latest album, actually, Life in the Wires, is probably my second favorite of theirs behind Million Town. But all their albums are great. Really good stuff. Very interesting, well-written, catchy. Very, very good stuff. Highly recommend listening to Frost if you haven't before. But yeah, 20,000 subscribers, that's crazy. You know, when I started doing all the Prog School videos, it was really more of an outlet for me more than anything to kind of, you know, share my love of this kind of music and also some of my knowledge. Basically wanted to create the channel that my 18-year-old self would have gotten a lot of use out of. This kind of music is incredibly complicated, right? Practicing along to Opeth, Steven Wilson. Yep, Steven Wilson and Opeth, some of my favorites too. Is there anything in particular you're practicing with Opeth and Steven Wilson? I'm just always curious. I suppose that's an interesting question. If those of you out there here musicians, like, what kind of things are you practicing currently? What kind of things are you working on or trying to get better at? I think that's an interesting discussion to have. But with this channel, I just wanted to make the kind of content that I would want to watch, learn how to write this kind of music. There's so many awesome like music theory channels out there, and channels that teach you how to write in different styles or how to play or analyze, all that kind of stuff. Analyze music in different styles, but nothing specifically for prog. I think that's like just prog, right? Obviously, I kind of do some other stuff outside of prog too occasionally. But I really wanted to make that kind of a channel where I could help people. Learning Leper, Affinity, and Bleak. Yeah, great. Those are awesome songs to learn. There's so many great riffs in Opeth, and they're, I think, difficult, but like achievable, right? With some practice, and you'll learn a lot of sort of classic metal techniques, but in a more interesting way. Trying to get better at hybrid picking. Yeah, hybrid picking is weird if you... Sorry, something in the throat. I'll pull out my guitar, why not? Make this more interesting. Hybrid picking is an interesting thing if you've never done it before. If I need to scoot over here. I got good at hybrid picking from like playing country, surprisingly enough, because I've played in a number of like country cover bands over the years. But yeah, hybrid picking is very unusual feeling technique if you haven't done it before, especially if you're used to just alternate picking. But actually, as I've gotten further along in my playing, I use hybrid picking more and more. Mostly if I have, well, there's lots of ways I might use it, but specifically if I've got single notes on strings, right? So like once my Kemper decides to turn on here. Let me get some less distortion here. So if I have like a single note on a string, that's when I'll use hybrid picking. So for example, if I'm doing legato especially, say I have to jump a string, like it's like a pentatonic sort of thing. That's a situation where I would probably use hybrid picking because, you know, you can jump the pick up and down, but if I use my finger, then I can kind of leave. Now, of course, you can do like the chicken picking stuff. You know, all that kind of stuff. Which is fun. I really like doing all of that. But in this style of music, if you're playing metal or prog, fusion, whatever, hybrid picking it's just a really convenient way of getting across the strings, right? And I'll actually use hybrid picking a lot in combination with sweeping too, to kind of make certain patterns easier. So here's actually a lick I was recording as part of one of these songs I'm recording right now. It's like an 11-note pattern. It's a very tricky kind of arpeggio pattern because of the odd number of notes. So what I'm doing is down, hammer, down, middle finger. So that 4-note sequence. Down, hammer, down, middle finger. And then the next part, it's just down, down, hammer. So I'm just using the one hybrid pick in that sort of 11-note sequence. I haven't played in a while. There we go. So that kind of thing is super handy. Another good example would be if I was sequencing arpeggios, for example. Like here's a major 9 arpeggio in groups of 4. So I'm doing like a single hybrid pick in there, right there. And for me, that makes it a little easier to jump over back to that note. You could do yeah, actually, you can hybrid pick like on low end riffs too. I will do that occasionally if something is super fast. It can work super well. I'm not sure exactly what that was. I'd have to see what song that was, but I will use hybrid picking in riffs though too, occasionally. I think it works super well. It's kind of, for me, an economical thing in the same sort of vein as like sweeping or economy picking, right? If I need to like catch a single note. I wonder if I can do. This is another riff I was just recording. It's on a 7 string, but I'll just do it on a 6. So it's in the wrong key. You can see how much I'm hybrid picking that. Anytime I'm skipping strings, it's kind of a legato riff more than anything. So anytime I do like one note on one string and then one note on the next string, I'll use hybrid picking if I'm in sort of this legato mode. If I'm more in the picking mode, I won't do that. Like I don't mix up alternate picking and hybrid picking very often. It's more that I'm mixing hybrid picking with legato more often than that. Or maybe sometimes with like sweeping, but it really depends on the riff and stuff like that. So for me, any technique really is just a means to end, right? It's a way for me to play whatever I'm trying to play more efficiently or be able to do it more cleanly. So if I need to use my fingers, great. If I need to sweep, cool. If I need to use some legato, awesome. If I need to tap. For me, it's all about kind of achieving that final sound. Now, obviously, different techniques have different sounds, right? It sounds different to alternate pick something versus doing legato. But sometimes if a passage is very difficult, it might just be a case of like, let's do the technique that for me is going to be the cleanest, not thinking too much beyond that, right? I think as a musician in general, but especially as a guitar player, it can be really easy to just tell yourself like, I want to alternate pick everything, right? I'm gonna alternate pick everything because that's like the ultimate way of like proving your technique is awesome or whatever. But for me, I've kind of gotten away from that, where it's like, if I want the sound of alternate picking, I'll work on it and make an alternate picking run. But if I just want to play something cleanly and it requires me to use 5 different techniques, that's fine, right? I mean, that's what's necessary. And so a riff like this, which I originally wrote this particular riff for keyboards, right? And then later in the song, I'm adapting it. Obviously, this song hasn't come out yet or anything, so I'm just recording it now. But later on, I'm adapting this same keyboard part to a guitar. So the patterns are absolutely bizarre, and they don't land on the guitar very nicely. So for me, it's all about just finding whatever technique is going to work for this particular part, right? So. That's kind of the whole riff, except for it's all done in drop A, so it sounds, what, a fourth lower? Is that right? Yeah, fourth lower. But that's an example of what I might do. Actually, let me pull up, since we're talking about hybrid picking. I put out a lesson, when was it? Earlier this year. It might have been like February, something like that. There's a hybrid picking lesson where I kind of went through a bunch of different exercises for hybrid picking. And I have a whole PDF that goes along with that. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. I'll pull this up on screen so you can look at it. Now I'm curious, Zach, which riff I was using hybrid picking on. I'll have to think about that. So there we go. Hybrid picking exercises. I think these are kind of designed to take you. From a very beginning sort of point with hybrid picking, and then eventually getting up to some more advanced stuff. Let me zoom in here a little bit. And so notation wise, you see there's an M there from middle finger. But these are some really basic exercises. And I have charts for all different techniques that kind of follow this same format of taking basic ideas and then expanding on them. I've got like a sweeping basics chart and an economy picking, and if you take lessons with me, like private lessons, these are the sorts of things that I'll send you as a student, right? Like, hey, here's some exercises you can do to practice. So that's kind of the first step with hybrid picking, is going, I'll do like a power chord. Oh yeah, like yeah, that's right. Like, it's funny, I don't even think of that as like the same as this kind of hybrid picking. That's my sort of like fake thumping technique, where I'm basically that kind of stuff, like using hybrid picking like thumping almost. That's something I could talk about too, I suppose. Basically, you want, with the basic form of hybrid picking, I'm replacing all the upstrokes with a middle finger. And I can do that way faster with hybrid picking than I could with a pick, right? Especially if I start to do some bigger jumps, like I'll do octaves a lot. Like that kind of thing, right? Like that's something that would be so much harder to do with alternate picking, right? Doable, but tricky. So then you can kind of take these exercises to different parts of the guitar. I might do the reverse too, where you can lead with the middle finger. Yes, hybrid thumping. I call it fake thumping. I actually did a whole lesson on that. Ooh, fairly early on in the channel, like almost 4 years ago, I think. It's a good one though. I think there's some interesting topics in that one too. And then you can make, like I can make little etudes or melodies out of it. That kind of stuff. If I want it to sound a little more musical. And then I do octaves. So this chart kind of takes you through all the basics. This is a really crazy one, and this is not how I would play a scale at all, but basically this is a pentatonic scale. And I'm quote-unquote alternate picking it, but all of the upstrokes are middle fingers instead, right? So it's... That's really weird to do. Not how I would ever play a scale, but it's the idea anyway of using the pick and the fingers together. That kind of reminds me of there's a crazy country guitarist named Scotty Anderson. Definitely check him out if you haven't. But he uses a thumb pick. He'll do 3 and upper string scales, and he picks it thumb, so thumb pick, right? Index, middle. So I guess I could do that. I think so you could do that like pick, middle, ring. Like that kind of. Oh, it's really hard to do. I've never actually tried that before, but you could do something like that. Let's see, what does Ronaldo say? I'm stuck in that hillbilly lane where it's pick, pluck, hammer, pluck, pull off. Okay, yeah. That kind of thing. Right. Actually, a perfect example, if we're in the like prog world, is the Liquid Tension Experiment song. Right. Why can't I remember the name of that? It's the first one on the first Liquid Tension Experiment album. So, someone's got to help me with the name of that. Someone knows what it is. You can, I mean, obviously Petrucci picks that, right? I think that's close. I don't remember exactly if that's 100% correct. But. Yeah, paradigm shift. Thank you. My brain could not remember what that was. You could hybrid pick that though very easily. At least that kind of basic pattern. For me, I think that actually works better because I've gotten really used to hybrid picking. And if I had to play that really fast, I might actually. That's a perfect example of something that's prog related that you could use hybrid picking on. I think the type of licks that happen with hybrid picking just lend themselves at first to the sort of country sort of thing, right? Some of that is how you hybrid pick too, as far as like the tone of it. So if I'm playing like legato figures, for example, I would use a lot of hybrid picking in fusion style. You know, sort of legato figures. You don't want to pluck the string too much. I mean, that's part of it. If you get underneath the string and pluck it, that's where you get more of that sort of like country sound. Right, that kind of thing. But if you just use the more like your finger picking and don't like get under the string so much and don't pluck, then you can make it sound a little bit smoother. So if we take like a classic shred pattern, so if I'm picking that, obviously I'm using legato besides the notes that are on one string. What I want to do when I'm hybrid picking is try to make that sound as similar to the pick as I can. And it's never going to be exactly the same, but it gives you an idea of how I might treat legato. And if I was doing a pattern like that with a legato, I probably would hybrid pick. Depends on the line, but definitely something you can think about doing if you get a single note on a string for hybrid picking. So I'll use them a lot in arpeggios, like I mentioned earlier too. So like you can do, let's see if I have any examples in this particular. Yeah, I suppose there's like the swibrid picking thing, which is sweeping and hybrid picking combined. So if I was just ascending, for example, like 3 notes at a time up like an arpeggio. That kind of thing, right? I might do down, 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 middle finger. That sort of thing. I could even do a roll, which is a little bit harder if you haven't done it before, but pick, middle ring. All right, yeah, hopefully that's helpful. There's lots of ways to use hybrid picking. You can come up with some really cool sounds with it too, but you could even extend that and do like down, 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 middle ring. Like a 4-note kind of thing. Basically, the hybrid pick is keeping my picking hand from having to jump back or change directions, right? If I have, it's pretty. You can tell it's fairly economical, right? I wouldn't do it that much in a row, probably. I also have done some arpeggios, like ascending and descending. I remember doing this. That was one I got from Andre Nieri, who's the crazy Brazilian guitarist. Now, he was finger picking the whole thing. Like, which I should be better at since I have a classical guitar degree, but he made it. Anyway, for me, so I'm just using the hybrid pick on top to like flip the pick around. use it on higher parts too. Like on a 6-string thing even. So many different ways you could use hybrid picking like that. See if I have some other examples in here. There's all the, and in my lesson I did earlier this year, I kind of go into a few other things too, like hybrid plus selective picking, right? So for some more modern guitar kind of sounds, right? So you have like selective picking. Kind of stuff. Not a very good tone for selective picking, but so I could do hybrid picking into selective picking. It's funny, I don't really write those kind of riffs very often, but it's a cool sound, a selective picking thing. What other things have people been working on guitar-wise? For me, I've just been recording new things. I feel like I haven't really learned anything terribly new recently. I feel like the older I get, the more I just get stuck with the way I already play, which is fine because I play a lot better than I used to. But I think, you know, I probably should occasionally learn something new. It's just so hard when I'm so busy. It's funny, sometimes when I'm teaching, I'll end up learning things that I might not normally learn. For example, I've had a couple students learning some Ollie Steele riffs, which it's not really the kind of, you know, metal or guitar playing that I'm that into. But it was kind of fun for me to actually learn some of those. See if I can remember. Something like that. Exactly how it goes, but you know, that's kind of like open string. Yeah. That's fun. Sometimes it's fun to push yourself outside of what you normally do. I love teaching when I can learn something new while I'm also teaching. That's fun. Kind of break outside of the style. also have one student who's doing like a bunch of crazy, like brutal death metal. So that's kind of fun too. I get to practice some tremolo picking and whatnot. Blues. I've played in too many cover bands, so I get stuck playing lots of pentatonics in there. Actually, no, let me pull up this back up again. So in this hybrid picking lick or exercises, I have like a couple of licks from some of my solos too. This is a crazy one for sure. That kind of thing. This, yeah, this one too. That's weird. It's been a while since I played this one too. So yeah, that's another one where hybrid picking is super useful. I did actually want some advice, or an opinion anyway. I'm planning on doing at some point another Symphony X riff video. So I did one kind of towards the beginning of the channel, and then I reposted it. It was like 7 Symphony X riffs, or 7 Savage Symphony X riffs, I think is what I titled it. But that's one of my best performing videos ever. So I want to do another 7 Symphony X riffs at some point. So if any of you are familiar with Symphony X, give me some more riffs that I should add to that. If you've seen my video, obviously not the ones I've already done, but I'm going to try to do a few more. So what did I do in the original video? I'm trying to remember. Sea of Lies, Evolution was one of them. I think In the Dragon's Den was another one. They were all meant originally to kind of talk about using the Phrygian dominant mode. But if I was just doing riffs in the future, I wouldn't have to do that necessarily. I could do whatever. So I got to figure out 7 more riffs and then learn them. Let me see, actually. Maybe I will. Maybe let's go on Songster and I'll try to learn some Symphony X riffs right now. Let's see. Ooh, Smoke and Mirrors, that would be a cool one. And I'm looking more for like riffs too, not solo stuff. That would be a separate thing. I did Nevermore. Inferno, I think that's a classic. I think this tab's probably pretty good. Okay, here we go. Just put up a Songster tab here. Man, it's been a long time. I learned this once. Many years ago. I'm gonna just use the transpose feature on my Kemper. Hopefully you can't hear the audible guitar too much, but okay. That's not too, the first part's not too bad. Let me memorize that. You see me learn something in real time here. I know this song really well, at least, so. Okay. And that part's pretty easy, it's all on one string. Okay, let's do, what's the next part? It does the first measure twice again, and then you get this bigger run. So. Oh, it's all just patterns of 6. And then, what's this part? Okay. They have to go right back into palm muting. Ooh. All right, I got to get the speed of this one. Is pick out the old metronome. .152. That's what it's marked as here. It's probably pretty close. Actually, I'm going to go back to standard tuning. I can't stand hearing my guitar in a different key than what I'm hearing, like acoustically. Okay, so that's not too bad tempo-wise. Let's see. Let me learn all the other different variations. That looks like the trickiest one. There is like just this little tag at the end of this one. And then there's a longer version of that tag here. And then that kind of happens again. And then I think it looks like that goes further on the next one. I don't want to copyright strike and get another. That's definitely fingered incorrectly on this tab. That would just continue that part there. All right, so let me go through the whole thing slowly. Scroll down. Oh, that's a different rhythm. Okay, so that's kind of how the riff goes. I'm wondering if I can palm mute it with more of my normal picking technique instead of trying to do the sort of downward pixelating thing. Dang it. There it is. Okay, that's fun. That's definitely one I could work up to speed. That might be a good one for another Symphony X riff video. It's a very different kind of riff because it's up higher register, but sounds cool. This is another like classic example of Phrygian dominant too. This is one I should actually probably teach to students occasionally. It's a good one for the Phrygian dominant stuff. Okay, I feel somewhat comfortable with this first part. What about this second part? Oh, that's right. This part just has different tags at the end. Oh, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, this depends on the week. So my schedule allows me to stream at certain times depending on the week, but I'm trying to do a live stream every week. Obviously next week is the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. I will be out of town, so there'll be no stream next week, but I'm trying to do one every week. I should have a new computer too in the next couple of weeks. Like the week after Thanksgiving, I'm probably going to get it. And then I can do a lot more live stream wise as far as more like kind of writing music live and also sharing what I'm doing in my DAW and recording and all that kind of stuff too, which I think will make for a more interesting live stream content. I'm kind of just chilling today. because I feel like it. Anyway, let's see. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. And if you're listening to me practice, this is totally the wrong way to practice. I'm like trying to do it at full speed right away without slowing it down. It's only because I know the song pretty well. So don't do this. Like, definitely, at least at first, get it under your fingers better and then speed it up. These patterns are all ones I've done before, you know, pretty classic kind of shred stuff. So it's tricky stringing it all together, but I'm just trying to get all the different sort of sections back to back. So let me change my tone actually. I'm actually curious how strongly he is actually palm muting these. Yeah, pretty heavily. All right. For 10 minutes of not very good practice, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's definitely one I could work up. Trying to think of other Symphony X riffs here. I'll probably do that at the beginning of next year. I'll do another like 7 Symphony X riffs. There's a couple of cool... I should do one of these like aggressive... What's the verse riff in Egypt? I really like that one. Oh, yeah. Actually, what was the one I'm thinking of? There's a couple of iconoclasts that are super aggressive too. That sound cool. What's the Smoke and Mirrors main riff? This is a super tricky one, actually. Well, there's the whole like sweeping part at the beginning too, but okay. Ooh. That might be another one to I might change the fingers on that a little bit. I'm not too far off tempo. Whew. That's a rough one too. These are all like crazy alternate picking exercises. Okay, let's see. Actually, while I'm here, it's been a hot minute since I've done this. Let's do some sweeping here. Okay. This is a kind of classic 5-string sweep. It's been a minute since I've played this part. Obviously, I'm in standard tuning. Okay. That's right. So it's A minor to E. Where does it go after that? Is it? Okay. That's cool. And then it goes back to the key of A minor. It like modulates up. So. And then it's to go. Is it straight into this? Just trying to memorize the pattern of it. I think that's it. Yeah, so. Ah. There it is. It's faster than that, but yeah. What's the actual speed? Yeah, how way faster than that? Wait. Ah. I'm gonna slow that down. That's metronome. Let's metronome. And then I'm going to be done here in a second. Let's try 110. Ah. Screwed up the end. Not too bad though. was pretty messy at the beginning. Let me go down in tempo a little bit. Definitely easier at that speed. I don't do this kind of sweeping very often. It's a good challenge for me right now. It's, for me, kind of that fast descending part that's really getting me. Actually, really, that part. That's the only part where the pattern's going to change. That's pretty good. Let's just for the heck of it, I've got to quit streaming here in the next 5 minutes, so I'm gonna try it at full speed. Oh gosh, it's so much faster. All right. That's acceptable. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah. Is it only twice on the first one? I think it's only twice. Ah. Messy. Ah, gosh. Yeah, that's not going to happen right now. Definitely could get it there, though. That would be a cool riff to do, I think. I'll do the sweep part, and then I'll do that kind of main riff, too, as part of it. That's such a fun sweeping pattern. One of my favorite kind of classical, neoclassical sounding arpeggios where you go down one and up another, or vice versa. So lots of ways you can do that. For example, let's say I go down like a major, and then up. Those kind of shapes are very fun. In this case, you have basically A minor to its 5-chord E. Even that pattern in and of itself is cool. And then you have the same thing like up 3 frets. All right, cool. I think I'm going to end the stream here today. Once again, thanks for hanging out. I'm just kind of chilling today. Next live stream will be more of a planned sort of thing. I'll be back in 2 weeks because I'll be gone next week. Once again, thank you all for 20,000 subscribers. That's awesome. I did put out a new lesson today. I think it's a good one. It hasn't gotten a ton of traction yet, but go check it out. It's about using strings in metal if you haven't yet. And I will see you all in a couple weeks. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out.